Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. This is Oscar here with Nedsted's Garage, and today we have some stuff here for a gearbox oil change on my 2005 Volvo V70 with the M66 manual transmission. So we have some stuff here that we are going to use. We have a new bolt for the drive shaft. We have a new nut for the control arm. We have two new washers for the oil plug on the transmission. And last but not least, we have also a new drive shaft seal for the left side, which is leaking on my car, which is kind of part of why I'm doing this. And then we have 2 liters of Volvo original transmission fluid for the manual transmission. And in my case, the M66 takes about 1.9 liters, and I have 2 liters here, so it should be plenty enough. And to install this drive shaft seal, I also have this specialty tool from Volvo. Since I'm working at Volvo, I have access to this, but you can also use some kind of large socket that fits over this, or a plastic tool or something to not damage the seal. I will leave all the part number links in the description, so if you want to check it out, you can just head down there and find what you need. You can probably buy this stuff from a third-party place, but I like to go original, especially with these kind of parts. And especially with the oil, I will definitely recommend using only Volvo transmission oil in your Volvo transmission. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so we are going to start by unscrewing the lower engine cover, which in my case is held in with a couple of 13mm bolts. So on the side here you can see the full bolt for the transmission oil, and we can also see where the transmission oil has been leaking out from the transmission. And here in the bottom is the transmission drain plug. Next step is to remove the drive shaft bolt, which is either a 13 or a 14mm bolt. After that we are going to knock loose the drive shaft from the hub assembly. Then we are going to clean off the threads on the sway bar end link and on the lower control arm. Then we're going to loosen the sway bar end link, and in this case it's a 19mm. Sometimes you can get away using an impact driver like this. Just make sure that the sway bar end link isn't spinning on the backside. Next step is to remove the nut from the lower control arm, so we can separate the control arm from the knuckle. And to do that I'm using this special tool, which is basically a long lever bar with a loop on it. And now we are going to completely hammer out the drive shaft from the hub. Before removing the old transmission fluid, we are going to make sure that we can remove the fill bolt and actually fill the transmission up with fresh fluid. This requires a 24mm socket. So now we can proceed with emptying out the oil. The drain bolt is also a 24mm, so we loosen it and make sure to collect the old fluid. So when all the old fluid is out, we can proceed with removing the drive shaft from the gearbox, and for that I'm using this pry bar to lever it out. Just like that. And now it's just a matter of pulling it out. When the drive shaft is out, I'm using some brake cleaner and compressed air to clean off the transmission housing from all the gunk to make it nice and clean again. Now we can remove the old seal using a small pry bar or a small crowfoot like this. Just make sure to push inside of the seal and not behind it, as it can result in damaging the sealing surface on the transmission. I'm sorry for the bad camera angle here, but I hope you understand what I mean. And there we go, the old seal is out, and let's prepare the new one. To prep the seal for installation, we are going to use some oil on the inner surface. The side that is marked M56 is the side that we are going to be using for our manual transmission. The other side is for the automatic transmission. So we are going to just take the seal and just slide it on here, just like that, and now it's ready to be installed in the transmission. But before installing the seal, we're just going to make sure that the sealing surface is clean, and for that I'm using an old rag with a bit of brake cleaner on it. Then we take the pre-prepared tool and install the new seal, and just tap it in. Just like that, and now you can see the seal sits flush against the transmission and it's perfectly installed. With the new seal in place, we can start preparing the drive shaft for reinstallation, and we are going to start by cleaning off the splines and to put on some grease for ease of installation and to prevent clicking noises coming from the hub. Then it's time to reinstall the drive shaft. Just make sure it goes in nice and straight and that the splines engages correctly before pushing in. Then it's just a matter of aligning the drive shaft with the hub and reinstall the lower control arm again. tip here for installing the drive shaft in the hub is to, when you push it in, you have to make sure the splines are clean and nice, and also you can put some grease on them, as I shown before. But take the old bolt first and insert it, and make sure it grabs the threads. And after that, when you have reached the stop in the back, you remove the old bolt and install the new one and torque it down to spec. Next step is to torque it down, first stage 35 Newton meters. And second stage is 90 degrees. Next it's time to reinstall the sway bar end link, and this time we will need to counter hold it with either a Torx or an Allen head key. And this is torqued down to 50 Newton meters. Then we are going to install the nut for the lever control arm, and again here we will need to use an Allen head or a Torx to counter hold it. Then it's time to torque this down. It's supposed to be torqued down to 50 Newton meters in the first step, and in the second step we are going to torque it down to 40 degrees. Next we are going to install the drain plug, but before that we're just going to clean off the surface a bit and make sure to use a new washer on the plug. The plug is then torqued down to 35 Newton meters. When the drain plug is installed, we can start to pump in the new transmission fluid. And for that I'm using an oil pump for transmissions and rear differentials. We are going to keep pumping oil in until it starts dripping out the fill hole. And when it starts to drip out, we install the plug with the new washer on it. And this one is also going to be torqued down to 35 Newton meters. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, feel free to like, share and subscribe. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Ha det gött, hej!